Hello and welcome to Yoga Basics, a class for beginning the practice of yoga. We are on week 6, I believe, and we've been accumulating different practices to build our own physical yoga, breath work, and meditation. So for this practice, you'll want to have 2 yoga blocks, standard size, a long strap, and maybe even a blanket that you can fold up to elevate your pelvis on and sit more comfortably on top, especially if you're turning out the legs in some version of cross-legged seated position. Today I want to highlight the only 3 sutras or lessons within the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali that talk about physical yoga. If you might remember that the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali was written way back in centuries ago, and it is the guidebook that up to today, we modern yoga practitioners use to reference how to practice yoga. So if only 3 of those hundreds of sutras talk about physical postures, then you'll remember that I mentioned that there are 8 limbs of yoga, and only one of those 8 limbs is the physical yoga practice called asana. I'll mention a little bit about the others later, but let's highlight those 3 sutras. So they are Sutra number 2.46, which says that yoga postures or asanas need to be practiced with 2 important qualities. One is steadiness. The Sanskrit word is sthira, and the other is ease. The Sanskrit word is sukha. So the actual Sanskrit sutra goes like this: sthira sukham asanam. So 2 important things, steadiness and ease, comprise each yoga postures. And you might even know that there's the English name and the Sanskrit name for each of the yoga poses, and the Sanskrit name often has the root word asana, reminding you to cultivate those 2 qualities, steadiness and ease. Now the second sutra that mentions yoga postures is 2.47 right after it. And it says that the means of perfecting the posture is that of relaxing or loosening of efforts and allowing attention to merge with endlessness or the infinite. So I don't really like to use the word perfection, because what is perfection anyway? Each physical body is going to look different performing a posture. It is really about how you approach the posture. And here it talks about, again, loosening effort, not overexerting yourself, not being so tense that you feel rigid in the pose, and having your focus on the infinite, where if you wanted to, you could be there forever in that pose. Again, it brings back the qualities of ease and steadiness. Now, the third sutra that talks about physical postures is 2.48, and it says that as a result of practicing steadiness and ease and loosening tension and having your awareness steady on the infinite, then you will experience an evenness beyond dualities, combining a sense of being with a sense of doing. Think about that. A sense of being is just being right here. It's a feeling of effortlessness, that you are perfect as you are. And there's some action involved, so there's a balance of the 2. And so this results in joyful ease, where you're free from the suffering that is caused by the push and pull of our own mind's likes and dislikes. Oh, I like this pose. I don't like this pose. So we go beyond that tug of war in the mind to a feeling of joyful ease. We've let go of that reactivity to things or that agitation, and the idea of preferences is irrelevant. We're in the posture, we're here, we're present. There's easefulness, steady focus on the infinite. So those are 3 things to keep in mind as we go into the physical asana yoga practice today. And then we'll move into meditation at the end. But of course, all of that, we will be practicing conscious breath. So pranayama, or regulating your energy by regulating your breath, is actually one of the 8 limbs of yoga. So let's begin the practice. Sit in a way that your body can be still comfortably, feeling that the left and the right sides of your pelvis, at the very bottom, your sitting bones are equally pressing into the surface beneath, and that you're able to lift your spine a little bit taller, all the way through the back of your skull, where your chin can comfortably parallel to the floor, and your shoulders are relaxed. Chest is open wide, shoulders are right on top of the hips, and then maybe close the eyes and rest your hands on your lap. Bring your awareness throughout your physical body, just paying attention to anything you're feeling in it. And this includes areas that might feel tense or even uncomfortable, without having to judge anything that you're observing as good or bad. So letting go of those likes and dislikes and just being with what is. So you're becoming more aware of what you're working with in the physical practice so that you can be kind to your body and only ask it to go as far as it needs to go in the moment. Now become aware of the way your body's breathing. Notice if it feels easeful or agitated or steady. Sense the pacing or the depth. Let the way that your body is breathing inform you of how you're feeling energetically, so that you meet yourself there. If you're feeling a little low on energy, maybe you take a lot of moments of pause and you really take your time easing into the movements. Otherwise, you might be feeling very energetic and really getting a place to channel that energy so that you can, at the end of this practice, feel more balanced from whatever end of the spectrum you're coming from. Now notice anything you're feeling emotionally. And along with that, any thoughts that might be predominantly repeating in your mind, or notice if there's any kind of pattern to your thoughts. Sense the energy of your mind. Does it feel ease? Does it feel focused or not? Again, no need to label it as good or bad. So in this way, you become more attuned to how you're feeling mentally and emotionally. And remember to be kind to yourself in your practice. Now you might join your palms together at the heart. This is a gesture of union as we're consciously uniting mind, your awareness, your physical body, your breath in the practice of yoga. And then what's something that you can offer gratitude for in this moment? Anything you appreciate. And that way, awakening the energy of your heart, begin to clarify something you want to call into your state of being. Anything you want to focus on and invite into your experience by setting an intention for that. And as a way of loosening the grip and having an easeful flow of effort, I invite you to dedicate your efforts to somebody else beyond you. So who comes to mind as somebody you care about, or a community, or a cause? Offering up this practice to them today. Now let that breath in a little slower through your nose. Taking your time to fill the body up. Let the breath out a little slower through your lips. As you inhale a little deeper, feel what you're sitting on. Press into it more firmly. And as you exhale more slowly, feel the spine rising tall. One more deep breath like that. Let's prepare to join our voices to create resonance as we share yoga in community by chanting Om 3 times, the sound of our interconnectedness. Inhale a little deeper. Bow in towards your heart center, remembering to check in with how you're feeling throughout this practice and honoring that, taking things at your pace and at the depth and intensity that feels right in your body. Now we're going to begin a breathing technique that we practiced before, and it's a way to regulate your nervous system to a feeling of calm, and it helps to steady your mind to an even focus while preparing your body for movement. It's a warming breath called Ujjayi Pranayama, or victorious breathing technique. So if you're sitting cross-legged, let's switch the shin that's forward or on top just to balance out the stretch in the hips. Sitting up tall, relaxing the body still. Place your left hand on your chest. Place your right hand just below your belly button. And as we breathe in slowly, invite the breath into both of your palms and all throughout your torso. So you feel a little fuller in the breath. And then we're going to close the lips, exhaling through the nose while you're softly narrowing or gently constricting the back of your throat, so that the breath creates a very gentle whispering sound, not forceful, but very smooth and subtle and soft. We're going to balance the breath in as slowly as the breath out. So I'll count 5 counts each way without holding the breath, finding an even stream, listening to an ocean sound. So let's prepare. Empty this breath. Inhale slowly for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now you count, continue counting on your own and feeling that balance of inhale and exhale. And I invite you to slide your hands now to the left and right walls of your rib cage. And similarly, invite the breath to equally stretch into both sides of your lungs. Feel the softening of the lungs as you breathe out. Keep balancing the inhale as slowly as the exhale, creating that very gentle whispering sound. Feel how much the left wall of your rib cage and the right wall of your rib cage stretch, and try to balance the same amount of expansion on both sides. This is called lateral breathing. We're adding that to our Ujjayi breathing. So we're stretching the breath both up and down, sideways, front and back. Now continue listening to your breath. Keep the same slow and even pace. And we're going to start to move the body by coming down to hands and knees. Now placing your 2 blocks on their tallest height, right at the top of your mat, your shoulders distance apart. So this wide apart from shoulder head to shoulder head. And place your fingertips so that your index fingers are touching the center at the back of each block. Spread your fingers really wide apart and flat. So thumbs are stretching towards each other. Base of the thumb and index finger are flat on the floor. And stack your shoulders right on top of your wrists. Now walk your knees back until they are directly under your hips so that your shins are hips distance apart and parallel to each other. You're now in a kneeling version of plank pose. Now to make it more active, pull in the belly. So engage the belly, spread your shoulder blades wider across the back ribs by rotating these outer sides of your upper arms, which are your triceps, towards the back of your mat. So what it does is it spreads the shoulder blades into protraction, creating more stability in the shoulders. Now, right between your shoulder blades, lift, just slightly dome the back there without completely rounding the back like cat pose. Keep your neck long, keep gazing on the ground just ahead of your thumbs. How is the sound of your breath? Now we're going to do some very small movements. Keep the belly lifting towards the back. Imagine you're creating a flat back. So keep the belly active, the neck long, the shoulder blades spreading apart, and inhale, glide forward as far as you can without bending the elbows. Not bending the elbows. And then exhale, glide back. So your movement is only forward and back. Keep your spine like a straight line, though it's curved, but imagine a straight line. Inhale forward, keep the arms straight. We're not bending the elbows. Go as far forward as you can. Exhale, back, shoulders over wrists. Let's go 3 more times. Keep the belly lifting, neck long. Inhale forward. Maybe you go a little bit farther. It depends on the flexibility of your wrists. Exhale, glide back. Inhale forward, keep the neck long, the belly engaged. Exhale, glide back. One more time, inhale forward, maybe a little more. Exhale, glide back. Now from here, spin out your hands. Maybe your fingertips point at the left and right walls of your room, or maybe they spin out towards your knees, whatever feels okay on your wrists. And we're gonna take a few rounds of cat-cow with our wrist stretch like this. So as you breathe in, glide your chest forward and roll your shoulders behind you, looking up, entering cow pose. As you breathe out, press through the palms and contract your abdomen, dropping your head, tucking your tailbone under into cat pose again. Inhale, reach your chest forward, peel the shoulders behind you and down, gaze up. Exhale, lift your belly and dome your back, dropping your head to round. 2 more times, breathe in, stretching the front of your spine. Breathe out, stretching the back of your spine. Last one, listen to the breath. Lean back to sit on your calves for a moment or stand on your knees and just roll out your hands at your wrists. Maybe even roll out your shoulders, maybe gently shake your head no, just loosening up the area of neck, shoulders, arms, wrists. Keep the breath going. Long inhale, long exhale, ocean wave sound. Now we're going to add on to that first movement of gliding forward and back as we're breaking down a posture that's going to be included in our sun salutations. And that posture in English is called 4-limbed staff pose. In Sanskrit is called Chaturanga Dandasana. Now feel your belly while you're upright right now. Relax the belly and just notice how it feels. Right? Maybe soft, maybe loose. Now feel the difference of slightly lifting these 2 frontal hip bones and sealing in the bottom of your front ribs, like they're trying to close up towards each other, but you're not contracting like this. Keep the spine tall and just pull in the frontal hip bones, the bottom front ribs, lift the frontal hip bones. Now feel the belly now. Let it feel a little more engaged. So you feel that engagement, neck is long, and let's come back to touching the backs of the blocks with your index fingers. Spread the fingers wide and flat, stack the shoulders over your wrists, step the knees apart, hips distance, shins are parallel. Now feel the belly, Frontal hip bones lifting towards the rib cage. Bottom front ribs sealing in towards the frontal hip bones. Neck long, shoulder blades wide apart. Deep breaths, long exhale. This time, inhale, glide way forward. Keep the arms straight. And as you exhale, bend the elbows towards your side ribs. Hug them in, and maybe your shoulders hover right on top of the blocks. Maybe they tap the blocks. Inhale, engage the belly, press up like a push-up, and exhale, glide back, shoulders on top of wrists. Now, you might want to watch me. I'm going to show you with knees on the floor and with legs straight in case you want to try the rigor of adding legs straight. So watch first. We'll start shoulders over wrists. Spine stays long the whole posture. We inhale, glide forward, hover the shoulders over the blocks. Exhale, bend the elbows towards 90 degrees, hugging your ribs. So they're pointing back, not flaring apart. Inhale, we'll press up, engaging the belly. Exhale, we'll glide back, shoulders over wrists. Now that's with the knees on the floor. If you feel like you want to try with legs straight, you want to engage the muscles in the legs. Plank pose with legs straight, we'll start similarly, shoulders over wrists. We'll inhale, glide forward, so you're high on your tiptoes. We'll exhale, bend the elbows back so they hug the side ribs. Inhale in Chaturanga Dandasana, four-limb staff. Exhale, we'll press up, and then we'll glide back. So you might want to try first with knees on the floor, and then if you're feeling pretty energetic and try with a leg straight, make sure your tailbone is not sticking up like this, nor is your pelvis dropping like this, right? You want to feel a plank of wood is like a diving board. It's a flat, straight line of wood. So that's what you want for the center line of your body. Let's start with knees on the floor. Prepare by emptying this breath, shoulders over wrists, neck long, belly engaged. Inhale, glide forward as far as you can without bending the elbows. Exhale, bend the elbows back to hug your side ribs. Maybe tap the blocks, pause here, engage the belly, look forward. Inhale, press up. Exhale, glide back. Two more times. Inhale, forward, belly stays lifted. Exhale, bend the elbows to hug the ribs, belly stays lifted. Lift through the belly, inhale, press up. Exhale, glide back, maybe legs straight. Last one, inhale, glide forward, high in the tiptoes. Exhale, elbows hug the ribs. Inhale, belly engages as you press up. Exhale, back. Let's come on down to child's pose. Bring the inner edges of your feet together to touch. Knees together or apart. Arms forward or back. Rest the forehead down and listen to the breath. Slow it down. Smoothen it out. So this attention to your breath is helpful to cultivate those qualities of easefulness and steadiness of mind, where your awareness is on the infinite. So when you lose sight of the breath, often it's an indicator the mind's somewhere else, not here in the present moment. So by focusing on the breath and cultivating a soft evenness, not forcefulness, you're bringing those qualities of the asana practice alive. So from here, let's come on up and we'll make our way to the top of the mat. We're going to integrate Chaturanga Dandasana into sun salutations. So last time we practiced sun salutation C, we're going to break down sun salutation A. So you may want to have your blocks in front of your mat here, about a foot in front of your feet, tallest height. Stepping your heels apart, hips distance. Look at your second toes and reference them as you're paralleling your feet. So they create a number 11. Spread your toes, press down firmly to your big toes, your pinky toes, and the center of your heels, like a tripod at the bottom. Stack your shins right on top of the center of your heels and feel your pelvis right above the ankles, shoulders right above the pelvis, back of your head lifting up, and the arms down by your sides to start. This is mountain pose, or in Sanskrit, it's called Tadasana. Hear the word asana? Now bring your hands together at your heart. This is the beginning pose of the sun salutations. Surya Namaskar A. Sun Salutation A. So remember, this is an act of gratitude. We're literally saluting the sun, this great source of energy that helps keep all of us alive. And as we bring the hands back to heart, we're also saluting the sun or the source that is within each of us. So empty this breath fully. We're going to move to the breath. Inhale, sweep your arms forward and overhead, looking up. Exhale, let's bend the knees as you're bowing from the hips. Lean your weight as far forward as you can. Press into your blocks as you inhale to stretch your spine forward towards parallel to the floor. Exhale, step back to hands and knees in plank pose, shoulders over the wrists. Take an extra breath in to glide forward. Keep the belly engaged, neck long. Now as you exhale, bend the elbows so they hug your side ribs like when we were hovering over the blocks, but lower all the way down this time. Press down through the tops of your feet and inhale, lift the chest by rolling the shoulders back lightly. Hug the elbows close. Exhale, press back to hands and knees, and let's enter your version of downward facing dog. We broke this down a few classes ago. So either you're lifting the hips high in this traditional version, or your knees stay on the floor and you're bowing forward with a belly engaged, like a flat back. Listen to 3 deep breaths. Land your gaze on one point. That's one way to steady your awareness on the infinite, right? Focusing on the calm steadiness of the breath. Finish this next exhalation. And as you hold the breath out, walk up to the front of your mat into a standing forward fold. Knees bent if your back is rounding. Press into your blocks as you inhale to stretch your spine forward. Engage the belly here. Exhale, bow towards your legs. Press to your feet. Inhale, sweep your arms forward and rise up into Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, join your hands together at your heart into Padasana. Now we're going to practice this continuously 3 times, and we're going to use that to warm us up, as sun salutations physically help to warm up the body. They can be movement meditation as you're focusing on that steadiness of breath and following it with the body. Remember, the breath is leading, not the body. So inhale, then continue with the movement. Exhale, then continue with the movement. Remember when we were counting to 5 to each part of the breath? Feel that sustained motion, not rushing to get to a pose. So let's bring the hands together at the heart. Focus on your intention that you set for this practice again. Listen to the breath, empty completely. As you inhale, sweep your arms overhead and look up, Urdhva Hastasana. As you exhale, bow from your hips. Feel free to bend the knees if that's more comfortable. Press into your blocks. Inhale, lengthen your spine forward, Ardha Uttanasana. Step to hands and knees in plank, and exhale, this time glide forward, keep the belly lifted, bend the elbows back to hug your side ribs, come slowly through Chaturanga, all the way down. Press the tops of your feet down. Inhale, roll the shoulders back to Cobra or Bhujangasana. Exhale into your version of downward facing dog. 3 breaths, steady your gaze on one focal point. Slow down and smoothen out your breathing. Notice if anything feels overly tense. How can you relax it? Finding the feeling of balancing being and doing. After this exhale, walk to the front of your mat. Inhale, press the blocks and lengthen your spine forward. Exhale, bow forward. Press to your feet. Inhale, sweep your arms forward, rising up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, hands together in Padasana. So this is an act of reverence. Saluting the sun, saluting the source within. 2 more times. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana, gaze up. Exhale, bow forward, Uttanasana. Press the blocks. Inhale, lengthen forward, Ardha Uttanasana. Take a long exhale, stepping from plank pose, gliding forward. Now you can have the knees down or legs straight and lowering. That whole exhalation encompasses that. Inhale, roll the shoulders back, press the tops of the feet down, Cobra pose. Exhale, lift the hips into downward facing dog. 3 breaths here. Downward facing dog in Sanskrit is called Adho Mukha Svanasana. Do you hear asana? Empty this breath completely and walk to the front of your mats. Press into your blocks as you inhale, stretching the spine forward to Ardha Uttanasana, half forward fold. Exhale, Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, rise, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, hands together, Padasana. Pause here, maybe close the eyes and just a few breaths. Notice how your body feels after a few sun salutation A's. Keep regulating your breathing, practicing Ujjayi Pranayama. And then let's take the 2 blocks like we practiced last week. Come to the center of your mat and open your arms wide apart so you're facing the wide width of your mat. Step your feet apart, almost as wide apart as the hands, and place your blocks behind your calves. Now I'm not going to mirror you here, so listen carefully and notice your own body. Touch your right hip, and from it, rotate your right leg out 90 degrees to face the short edge of your mat. Touch your left hip and turn in the left leg 45 degrees. Now align the center of your right heel to intersect the arch of your left foot. And as your hips are slightly facing a diagonal direction, right, but the pelvis is upright, your chest is completely open. So if you open the arms wide, your wrists are right above your ankles. Now press evenly down through both feet and inhale, raise the arms and imagine your torso getting a little bit longer. Relax the shoulders. Exhale, bend your right knee directly on top of your right heel and open your arms apart. 2 more times. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, bend the right knee. Listen to the breath. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, bend the right knee. Now this time, inhale, rise up, firming the legs evenly into the floor, open the arms with legs straight, and let's prepare for triangle pose. In Sanskrit, it's called Trikonasana. Glide your pelvis sideways towards your left heel as you reach for the horizon past your right knee. Place the right hand only to the height that allows you to keep the chest open, raising the left arm, breathe. So you might place the right hand on your right thigh. Just make sure you're not pushing the knee, or on your right shin, or on a block that is just to the right of your right leg, touching your leg. Adjusting the block, remember there are 3 levels you can choose from. Find the level that allows you to feel openness, that allows you to hear the breath still, calm, and deep. If all of a sudden it's difficult to breathe in a pose, well, we've lost that definition of asana, right? Remember, it's got to feel easeful and steady. So find a sense of comfort in the pose. Even if you're challenging yourself, you can still find a sense of comfort through your focus and your ability to relax. Let your eyes steady on one spot. If it feels okay on your neck, look up towards your left thumb. Otherwise, choose a different spot that feels better. One more deep breath in triangle pose. Press down through both of your feet and inhale, rise up. Keep this wide stance and parallel your feet into a more neutral position. Touch your left hip and from it, rotate your left leg 90 degrees out. Externally rotate. Touch your right hip and turn it in 45 degrees. Align your left heel to intersect the arch of your right foot and press down evenly through both feet. So your frontal hip bones are pointing diagonally towards that upper corner of the mat, but your chest is wide open. As you open the arms, your wrists are just above your ankles. Inhale, raise the arms and stretch the sides of your torso, get a little longer. Exhale, bend your left knee directly above the heels, you open the arms. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, look at the left knee, just stop right on top of the ankle. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, bend. This time, inhale, lift up, keep the legs straight, but open your arms and glide your pelvis sideways towards your right heel and forward. Reach with your left hand past the left knee. Place the left hand either on your left thigh, your left shin, or on a block just to the left of your left leg that's directly under your left shoulder while you lift the right arm straight up. Right away, choose one point to steady your gaze on to help your mind to focus on the infinite. Relaxing, yet engaging muscles in the leg, muscles in the belly, finding a balance of being and doing, where you're not overexerting yourself. There's a sense of comfort even if you're being challenged. 3 more breaths, listen in. Pressing down to both feet, inhale, rise up. And then from here, parallel your feet. Bring your hands behind your back and either interlace your fingers. And if you feel like that's a little challenging, you can take a strap here, and I'll turn around so you can see me. By holding the strap between your hands, you can adjust how close together or wide apart your hands are, so that when we bow and open up the chest, you're able to lift the hands maybe at least 1 foot away from your lower back. If it's not going far back much, then you can step the hands wider apart in the strap. So the strap gives you more options. If you're holding the strap, point your thumbs away from your spine, helps to open up the chest, and make sure your feet are parallel to each other. They're not turned out. As you breathe in, roll your shoulders down and look up, lifting your chest. As you breathe out, hinge from your hips and cultivate the feeling of a long spine, not a rounded back. So if the back begins to round, bend your knees as much as you need so you're not rounding the back. Tilt your weight forward so that your pelvis is not behind your heels. It's in line with your heels. And then completely drop your head. If your head's not resting on something, you can gently shake it or nod it. As you stay for 4 more breaths here, this is called wide-legged forward fold. In Sanskrit, it's called Prasarita Padottanasana. Hear the asana? Comfort and steadiness. Keep stretching the arms away from your lower back, bending your elbows lightly so that you can lift the shoulders away from your neck. So we're releasing the spine here and stretching the backs of your legs and all of your back. 2 more deep breaths. Listen to the depth and ease of the breath. Let the hands go. Place them on your hips, pointing your elbows towards the sky. Bend the knees and begin to lift your chest, engaging your belly. Inhale to slowly rise up. And notice how you're feeling here, physically, mentally. Sense the breath again. And then come on down to sit at the middle of your mat, placing a block by the skinniest width right between your knees and your thighs. We're going to prepare for bridge pose by first moving up and down out of it, in and out of it. And then on the third time, we're going to stay lifted in bridge pose. The Sanskrit word for bridge pose is Setu Bandha Sarvangasana. There's the asana again. So with a block between your knees and thighs, separate your feet as wide apart as your knees and look at your feet. Make sure they're parallel to each other. Lower onto your back with your arms, hugging your sides right beside you. Ground the backs of your shoulders. Slide your feet back until you could almost touch your heels with your fingertips, but not quite, just almost. Tilt your chin slightly away from your chest to open your throat and invite the breath in more easily. We're going to lift the pelvis and, hugging the block, stretch the front of your thighs forward for one inhalation. So make that a long in-breath. And then for the exhalation, we're going to slowly lower the back to the floor, upper back, middle back, tailbone last. We're going to do that 2 times in moving bridge pose, 1 breath each. So prepare to begin by exhaling. Inhale, lift your pelvis and stretch the front of your thighs forward. Chin tilts back as you're lifting the chest. Exhale, slowly lower upper back. As if 1 vertebra at a time, low mid back, then lower back. One more time, press down to your feet. Inhale, lift the hips, stretch the front of your thighs forward. Keep the feet still. When you're ready, exhale, slowly lower your back, then your pelvis. Bring the arms in a little closer in case they splayed apart, and prepare to lift and hold bridge for 5 to 10 breaths of your count. When you're ready, inhale, lift the hips, stretch the front of the thighs forward, keep the feet still, and walk your upper arms closer together under your back ribs. Keep your arms straight so you're not bending the elbows, and only if your hands can touch, interlace your fingers. Otherwise, don't bend the elbows to interlace the fingers. Press down with the outer upper arms and keep lifting your chest, chin back. Press the insteps of your feet into the ground as much as the outer edges of your feet. Counting 5 to 10 breaths. Bridge pose can be helpful to really expand the inhalations as you're stretching the front body, front parts of your lungs. When you're ready to come down, use an exhalation, release the arms, and slowly lower your spine. Just pause, put the block aside, step the feet apart, a little wider than hips distance, drop your knees together so they touch. And just notice for a few breaths any sensations moving through your body. Still aware of that whispering sound in your breathing. Draw your bent knees towards your chest. Keep them apart, like hips distance apart, and gently rock side to side. Turn all the way over to one side, press the ground, and slowly lift your torso upright. We're going to come into a seated spinal twist. So as you're sitting upright and your legs are stretched in front of you, notice the alignment of your spine. Does it tend to round like this? Is it challenging to lift the spine tall? If it is challenging, take a folded blanket or your 2 blocks side by side on the lowest height and sit on the front edge of that, elevating your pelvis to help lengthen your spine. Now keep your left leg straight and step your right foot on the floor just in front of your right hip. Holding on to your right shin with 2 hands, flex your left foot, meaning curl the toes back towards the shin. Press down to your left and right sitting bones at the bottom of your pelvis, and inhale, lift up from the bottom of your spine through the back of your skull. Keep the shoulders relaxed. Place the right hand on the floor behind your pelvis. As you exhale, turn your chest to the right. As you inhale, press down, even with your right foot, and lengthen up. As you exhale, keep turning your chest. 3 more breaths. Inhale, root down to rise up. Exhale, rotating your rib cage. So taking your postures like these, like spinal twists, incrementally, breath by breath, there's a gentle, subtle action. So you're not going all into it immediately as soon as you start the pose. This allows you a mindful awareness of your parameters and ability to move with ease. You're not forcing anything or adding too much tension. As you empty the breath, release your spine, and let's switch sides. Straighten the right leg forward and step the left foot on the ground in front of the left hip. Hold the shin with both hands and flex your right foot. Root down to your 2 sitting bones and the sole of your left foot as you breathe in to lengthen up through your spine, relaxing the shoulders. Left hand behind the pelvis, exhale, twist to your left. Inhale, pause, press the ground and lift up. Exhale, continue to twist. And on your own, 3 more breaths like that. Then unwind your spine and let's prepare for bound angle pose. The Sanskrit word is Baddha Konasana. There's that asana again. Bring the soles of your feet together to touch and take hold of your big toes with your hands or use a strap if that's more helpful to keep your spine upright as an extension of your arms. You can wrap the strap around the outer feet and hold on to the strap. So you're lifting the chest. Notice the natural space between your chin and chest. When you're able to keep the neck neutral, we're not folding from the neck that looks like this, right? This is not bowing deeper. This is just nodding the head. So keep this natural space between chin and chest, and we're folding from the hips. So think long spine, inhale. Exhale, hinge just a little bit forward from the hips. Inhale, long spine, keep the throat open. Exhale, hinge another little bit. And for 3 more breaths, continue to whatever range you can go without tensing the body more, where you start to round the back and shrug the shoulders. Remember, we're looking for relaxing, releasing tension. One more deep breath. Press down to your hips and inhale, begin to rise up. Now let's prepare for a breathing technique that will help us to relax into corpse pose, the final resting pose, also known as Shavasana, and help us to relax the mind for meditation. So sit upright, tall spine, relaxed body, and we're going to practice 3-part breathing, Durga Pranayama. So imagine that your torso from the bottom of your pelvis to the top of your neck is a jar. Divide that jar into 3 cross sections. The lowest cross section, or the first part, is from your belly button down, all the way around. The second cross section encompasses most of your rib cage. The third cross section includes your chest, neck, upper back. Now, place your left hand on your chest to indicate the top section, and your right hand on your lower belly to indicate the bottom section. We will divide one inhalation into 3 parts. First, we'll breathe in 1/3 into the lowest section, pause. Then we'll breathe the second third into the mid section, then pause. Then we'll breathe the last third all the way up to the neck and hold the breath. Then we'll exhale everything really slowly and hold the breath out. That's one cycle. Let's practice 3 cycles together and then 2 cycles on your own. So prepare to start by emptying this breath. Hold it out. Inhale 1/3 into the lowest part. Pause. Inhale 1/3 into the mid-torso. Pause. Inhale the last third all the way up to the neck. Hold the breath. Relax the body. Exhale slowly, everything. Hold the breath. Observe. Round 2. Inhale to the first part. Pause. Inhale to the middle. Pause. Inhale to the top. Hold. Exhale slowly. Hold. Last one together. Inhale the first third. Pause. Inhale the second third. Pause. Inhale the last third. Hold. Exhale slowly. Hold. Continue 2 more cycles on your own. Take your time finishing. When you do, relax to natural breathing and observe how you feel. Then gently begin to lower your body to the ground. You may like to place a rolled up blanket underneath the backs of your knees like this. Splay your feet apart so they are wider than your hips distance, and just let your feet flop in their natural direction. Come all the way down to your back. And as you're lowering your shoulders, walk them down your back. Turn the palms to face up by your sides. Gently turn the head and find the most neutral position for your neck, where you can feel both shoulders equally relaxing away from the ears. Close your eyes and sense your body relaxing more deeply with each natural breath out. Allowing yourself to let go of doing and observe the state of being. We'll be here for a few minutes in Shavasana. Now let your body remain still. Become more aware again of anything you're feeling in your body. Notice if it feels any different since the beginning of this yoga practice. Be gentle and slow. Start with small parts of your body to begin moving and waking up. Like wiggling your fingers, wiggling your toes. And then ease into other parts of the body gently, like stretching your arms. Gradually turn over onto your right side so that you're resting in a fetal position. Resting your head on your arm. And notice the quality of the breath. Feeling your energetic state. Notice if anything about it feels different. Pressing your hands into the ground, very slowly begin to lift your body upright. Find a comfortable way to sit, tall, grounded, easefully. Now, one of the purposes of the asana practice, the physical yoga practice, is to let go of distractions in the body, like tension and ailments, so that you're able to sit and meditate. If you'll remember, yoga means the calming of the fluctuations in the mind. And here we are in meditation. So you might rest thumb and first finger to touch, palms face down on your lap. You might close your eyes or steady a soft gaze on one thing that helps you to concentrate, just at eye level. We're going to practice sitting for 2 minutes, and I invite you to continue to let the breath flow naturally. And as we've been practicing already, in your mind's eye, feel in your body where you can most easily observe the breath, the sensations of the breath. Might be your chest, might be your stomach, or elsewhere. Now gently land your attention there for the next 2 minutes. And if your attention goes somewhere else, as soon as you realize that, just kindly bring it back to the place where you can feel the breath over and over again, because that is a practice of concentration, which is another limb of the 8 limbs of yoga. Let's begin. Now notice how you're feeling in your mind and your heart, mentally and emotionally. You might bring the hands together at the heart, coming back to that feeling of gratitude. What do you appreciate now in this moment? And then remember what your intention was for this yoga practice today. Remember to whom or what you chose to dedicate this practice. And in closing, let's join together chanting Om 3 times. Pausing at the end of each Om to honor the silence. Inhale deeply. Bow in towards your heart center, acknowledging the source within you, the light within. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste.